Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans beyond Salem. Um, I know, I finally came up with an intro, and there's like literally 2 episodes left. Uh, we'll get started. If you are a Sierra fan, you might want to just kind of, you might want to just leave right now because I'm going to be completely honest. I'm going to, well, surprise, surprise, not be nice to her. I know, but I'm going to give y'all a few seconds before I start. My goodness, is that chick stupid? Oh my goodness, is that woman dumb? I mean, I know that I don't like both of them because of the constant PDA and everything like that, but Sierra literally is just dumb. Um, so Hope got shot, and then she decides to blow both of their covers. Um, well, my mother never liked you anyway, and you got her shot, and this, that, and the third. And Ben is like, yo, chill out. Like, this person could sit there and wind up shooting us now. Like, what are you doing? It's like, well, it doesn't matter because Hope is already shot. Oh, because you can't be shot, right? All right. So afterwards, Michael pulls out the gun. I know his first name is Harris. I'm still calling him Michael. Michael pulls out the gun. He's like, yo, listen, give me the prism. I'm going to shoot you. And this chick is like, no, I'm not going to do it. Sarah, he has a gun on me. I'm like, just out of spite, he should have just shot Ben in the leg just to make his point clear. But what he wound up doing is, I think he wound up shooting the priest. He wound up shooting the priest, and Ben was like, well, why'd you do that for? To make my point clear. So after Harris is sent there, after Michael sent there telling her to give him the prism, and Ben is literally sent there pleading with her, like, yo, listen, our son needs you. Like, this isn't worth it. After like a good nearly 45 minutes of actually pleading with this idiot, she finally winds up giving him the prison. But he shoots her anyway, and I'm just like, you know what? I probably would want to shooting her too. I mean, that was annoying as hell. You literally tried this man's patience for damn near 45 minutes. When in reality, he could have just shot you anyway and just took it. But, so he winds up shooting her. Now, towards the end, you know what? If you watch the episode, you know what will wind up happening. But I'm gonna get to that in a second. So Hope actually got shot. Okay, like I thought it was like a black pack. They were faking it. No, she got shot and she went to heaven. And Bo was angry at her because he was like, "Yo, you taking all these chances and you doing all this stuff. Like, our daughter, our grandchild needs you, and you just out there playing spy and superhero. Like, what are you doing?" After they calm down, and Angela gets there, and eventually she gets to sit there and see her other son, who apparently died when he was 5, which is really sad. Um, he gets to sit there and see them, and at this point, Bo's like, "You need to take my second chance ticket and go back down to Earth." He does sit there and say that because apparently he's been in heaven, that he couldn't just stay for long, which I was just like, okay. It was like, okay, you know what? I don't know the rules here, so sure. Um, so he's like, Hope, you got to go down there. Now this chick, uh, I'm sitting there wondering where does she get her brains from? Hope was like, no, I don't want to go down there. I want to stay up here with you guys. I'm like, your daughter's been shot, or she's about to get shot, and you need to go down there and stop it before that happens. Now, I shouldn't sit there and say she's totally stupid because she does get to sit there and see Bo. She does get to see her other son. So I understand. As frustrating as it was to sit there and watch this whole thing drag out, I understood why she wanted to stay. Okay, I understood. It was annoying as hell, but I understood why she wanted to stay. Um, she also got told that once she goes back down there, because at first they didn't even know, Angela's like, this isn't like a subway token. I don't know if this could be transferable. But she's like, all right, you can do it under one condition. You're not going to remember what's going on up here. I thought that was pretty sad, but I'm like, okay, it is what it is. You got to go down there. You got to be with your daughter and your grandson or whatever. Fine. So before that happens, they're like, what about one last dance? And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Because I feel like at that point, this was the point where it just like things. It felt like it started to drag out a little bit. Actually, a lot. Okay, it started to drag out a lot between her not wanting to go back down to Earth and Sierra not wanting to give him the prism, even though he had a gun pointed at her head. I felt like certain things just started to drag on too long, and then they started dancing, and then they played some song from I guess like the 80s or the 70s, and I'm just like, oh, you gotta be kidding me now. It was like, oh, we are just gonna drag this out to the bitter end. We just gonna just drag this whole thing out into the bitter end. Okay, all right, sure, that makes sense. So eventually, she does go. Sierra does want to get him shot because at this point, Michael's patience is just it's up there. Okay, it's actually what passed the meter at that point. So he winds up shooting Sierra, but Angela just even as I wrote this, I was like, I can't believe I'm actually writing this. Like literally, I was like, I can't believe I'm actually writing this. She uses. I gotta try to say this with a straight face. Hold on. She uses a remote controller to turn back time. I, you know what? At this point, they could just have Superman do his little reverse back time thing, and it would have been the exact same thing. At this point, we're dealing with supernatural stuff, so okay, sure, fine. So she uses a remote to turn back time, and right when Thomas Banks is about to sit there and shoot her, um, some nun comes in and smacks him on the hand, and as the nun takes the gun, she accidentally shoots Michaels in the arm. Yep, yep, that's that. That's literally what ended up happening. I never thought that I would make a video saying something like that in a soap opera, but yeah, that's literally what ended up happening. So that was a. I'm just gonna move on. So they pretty much pulled to General Hospital. Okay, I'm just gonna say I know every soap borrows from another soap. I'm just gonna call it what it is. Okay, just as John and Steve, got the cuffs off, they're at the door. They're heading towards the door. Megan pulls out these two tarot cards and mind controls them to get the prism for her. So that's what they do. They go to the casino or whatever. They wind up meeting up with Kayla and Marlena. Um, she gets down there. So, one second. So yeah, they wind up meeting up with them, and they're acting strange right off the bat. And so, Marlena's like, "Yo, listen, I came down here because Paul said that you were kidnapped, you were in trouble and stuff like that. What's going on?" And so at this point, Steve and John are like, "Hey, when we go to the room or whatever, you can sit there and see the kids." They get to the room, and Marlena's like, "Oh, where's the kids at?" And John's like, "Yeah, I lied. So they tie him up, points a gun at them, tied him up, and is like, no, we only we only answer to Megan, whatever her last name is, Damaros. And Kayla's all Armelia's like, oh, what? She's dead. Like, seriously? I don't even understand how you actually even utter out those words. But she's dead. You do realize that you are from Salem, right? Where apparently no one really dies in Salem. I was just like, why is she so surprised that she's back? Like, I feel like that's just a normal thing at this point. So you got Shen, you got Gabby, you got Andrew, you got Paul, and then you got Wendy, Trip, and Joey. So all there, they're all doing their own little thing, and eventually they wind up meeting up. Um, Specifically because Andrew was like, "Yo, that's my cousin or whatever. I can't let him know I'm here. It's gonna blow my cover." But of course, Joey wound up spotting him, um, and so they all eventually wound up meeting up. They're talking about why they're there, John, the prism, all that stuff, and um, Harrison coming there. So they want a meeting up with Shen. Shen, of course, acts like the condescending dick that he is. And, he's all like, oh, well, Michael's not going to be able to get in here. I got top notch security. Good. This, that, and the third. Um, Now, I'm not going to lie. When everything, like when the event really started, and, Shen was meant to talk about the prism and all the stuff it can do and blah, 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 blah. And I had the little thing to unveil it. When they took it off, I thought that it was already gone. Hell, I actually started writing out my notes early. Well, when they unveil it, it's going to be gone. But it was literally still there. So I was like, oh, okay. And of course, you got John and Steve, got their weapons in hand, just ready to go. So that should be interesting. Now, I'm actually curious to see how this whole thing is going to wrap up. Okay, I am really curious to how this whole thing is going to wrap up. Um, I missed, I think, a chapter one. I think the last two episodes or the last three episodes, I can't really tell. And eventually, I want to get back to watching it. I just don't have the time to do it. But maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I will. There was some interesting scenes when they were dancing. I mean, it wasn't totally just like nauseating for me personally. Um, he started doing a lot of flashbacks, like Hope and stuff like that, and just seeing that era was just so. It's always really interesting to sit there and watch, like like the fashion and everything like that. Like I think a couple years ago, or literally a year and a half ago, he did a flashback with Steve and Kayla. And, Kayla, back in the day, a lot of women wore like the shoulder pads. So, she's all decked out, all 80s or whatever, with the shoulder pad and the hairstyle. And I'm just like, I am so loving it. I feel like every now and then I'm going to like watch little clips of them on YouTube, like specifically like during the 80s and 70s and stuff like that, because it's very interesting watching the hairstyles and the mannerisms, specifically what you can and can't say. Um, that stuff is always really interesting, especially even their love making scenes, because uh, I feel like they were a lot more very pornographic, if I'm going to be honest, even for a daytime, even for a regular basic cable channel. I felt like there were some things that I just I'm surprised they actually made it in there. Let me just double check my notes. I feel like that's the more relevant stuff that actually happened in this episode. Now, although I did enjoy this episode, I also did feel like there were certain things that just kind of just dragged out because plot and time and things of that nature. And Sierra and Hope, Hope was kind of annoying. Sierra was definitely annoying. But besides that stuff, I did actually have a good time watching it. It was actually pretty good. Given the minuses that happened, it was pretty decent. So yeah, with that being said, it's funny how I went from good to decent. I know, but with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video.